Welcome back. All right, we're going to be setting up these eye controls right here so that we get this type of a functionality with our controls. So as we move them around, we notice that the eyes follow this. And then if we want individual control, we can go in and we can select our left eye control over here to adjust on top of the rotation of our eyes control group. And then we'll also be adding a couple attributes onto the control that will be controlling our upper and lower eyelid opening and closing. So we'll get this functionality. So we can get some nice winking and so a little bit of posing. So yeah, so just real general basic setup for the eyes. And that's kind of the look that we want. This is using a couple of in constraints and then just a few connections in our connection editor to set up those eyelids. So let's get started. Okay, so we've got our model here and we've got our eyes and then we've got our different joints set up for our upper eyelid and then for our eyeball and for our lower eyelid. So, and that's what we're going to be setting up to control. So we're going to make the controls that we need for this. We're just going to quickly make one control and we're just going to scale this out. It's about like that. And then we'll name this the eye or eyes control. And we're going to group that to itself and name the group eyes control GRP for group. And now we're going to make our two other controls. So we're going to make our left eye and our right eye. We'll call this our left eye control. And we'll make that a little bit smaller. Like that. And then we'll duplicate that and just name this one the right eye control. Okay, so we've got both of these. If we want, we can group these as well. If we wanted to add extra functionality on top of our controls, having something parented to it to control where it's parented to, that's where these groups come in really, really handy. So, and also they're really nice to move things around and to make sure that your actual control is staying at its zero values. So we'll name the first one our left. Here we go. Our left eye control group. And we'll name the other one a right eye control group. Control GRP. There we go. And now we're going to grab each of those groups and we're just going to move them over so that they're positioned nicely. So, and we'll just take this over to 0.7 on that group, and then our right group, we'll just move it over to a minus 0.7. So we got that. Maybe we'll make it a little further. Do a minus 0.9. Yeah, that looks good. And we'll do the same thing to the left eye group. Change that to 0.9. Yeah, that looks good. Now to differentiate these, make them look all pretty, we can go into our attribute editor and underneath our shape node, go under object display and drawing overrides and enable overrides. and we can go down and we can choose some nice pretty colors for our controls. So we'll choose yellow for our main control, and then blue will be our left eye control right there, and red will be our right eye control. These are pretty standard colors. There we go. For left and right. In most rigs you will find them. So we're going to take this, both of these groups, and we're going to parent these, our left eye group and our right eye group. We're going to parent that to the eye controls. So we've got a nice hierarchy working here. Okay. And those in place, we're just going to move each of these or rotate these so that they're a little more perpendicular and not laying flat like this. So F8, and we'll select all of our control points, and we'll go to our rotate, and we'll just make sure that our tool settings that the step snap is set to on, and 45 degrees is fine. I'm going to rotate that twice so that's nice and straight up and down. F8, okay. And now all we're going to do is we're going to take our group and we're going to snap it up. We're going to move it up here, move it forward. And we want to make sure we're doing this on our group node and not on the eyes control itself. Because again, we want to try to keep all of our attributes and any values that we're putting on those attributes, we want to keep on the parent, so that the child, which is what the animator is going to be using, is going to look really, really nice and really pretty with zeros and ones in place. And that's really what we want to get with all of our controls. So we're going to place this up here. And actually, I want to make sure that these are right on the same level as our eye. So I'm going to hit V, and I'm just going to snap it to one of the eyes, to one of the eye joints there. And then I know that I need this centered, so I'm just going to change the translate X to 0. Now it's right in the middle, and then I'm going to just pull the whole thing forward. Just like that. Okay, so these are kind of big for really big. So we're going to scale these down a little bit too. Get something a little more like that. Scale it down a little bit more. Okay. And then I am just going to center these controls so that they're right on with each of the eyes. Or select our group. And by selecting that X channel, we can snap it over to our joint. Okay, looks pretty good. So now we got this value here. We can take it to the parent of our left eye control. And pick walk up and get to our parent. And we'll just type that in. And change the negative to a positive. There we go. So those are in our right spot. And now we're going to move just these controls over by themselves. So we'll go back into our component mode. Fate. And select all those control points. And we're just going to move these over a little bit. Just like that. Do the same thing on our right eye control. Like that. And just move it on over. There we go. That keeps our center points right in line with our eyes, and then puts the shape node out a little bit more. So with that done, we're going to go back to our group, our eyes control group over here, and then we're going to move these back out forward. right about here. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. And now our two eye controls are set up. Obviously, they're not doing anything. We haven't made any connections or anything, so they're just sitting there in the world. All of our controls are still at 0 and 1 for scale, which is exactly how we like it. And now we're going to set up constraints. So we're going to be using aim constraints here that we're going to be constraining our main eye. So our left eye, which is our skin joint, is going to be aim constrained to our left eye control, and the same will go with our right eye control. So we will simply select our control first and go and shift select our left eye skin joint, and then it's this guy right here. This is our aim. You can go ahead and find that under your rigging menu set, under constraint, and you get to aim, and then you can have, we're going to keep our maintain offset on, and aim vector being X and the up vector being 1, and all this is fine. So we're going to keep that. We're going to say apply, and do the same thing now on the right eye. So we'll select our control, move forward, shift select our right eye control group and hit apply again. And now we should have that fully functional. And now it's following around as we move our eye control around, which is exactly how we want it. And now that we've got our hierarchy all set up, we can move our eyes individually on top of that as well. So yeah, yay. Okay, perfect. So that's looking good. We don't need our aim constraint option box open anymore. So we can close that. We've got our 3 controls set up here with our aim constraint. Now what we want to do to make this all nice and pretty is we're going to take that whole group, we're going to shift select the head control, and we're just going to hit P to parent that to the head control. And now wherever the head moves, the eyes are going to be looking in that direction. Oh, let's turn off my snap. There we go. Okay. So now you can see the eyes are always going to follow around no matter what. And then if you really wanted to, you could have this, we could add an attribute on this control for world placement so that it would follow or stay to the world and not follow the head. So to do that, you just go up, we would hit edit, add attribute, and this will be a boolean, so just an on or off, and we would say world position. We'll say add, we'll close that, and then what we'll do is we'll go into our hierarchy here, and from one of our previous tutorials we made this empty group node called world orient group, and this is everything that we constrain to that we want to keep world values with. And so we're going to select that group, and then we need to get back to this parent. So we're going to select our eyes control and hit our up arrow key to pick walk up to our eyes control group. And then we're going to come back to our outliner and hit F to frame that. And now that we've got that framed, now we can go down and we can select our world orient group. And our outliner will control click our eyes control group. And then we can get away with just doing a position. Doesn't really matter. We'll just do a parent. But if we want, we could do just a point orient, and that would be fine as well. But we'll do a parent. And now we'll see if we rotate the head around, the eyes are going to stay looking at our object no matter what. So, but now we want that ability to turn that on or off. So all we're going to do is we are going to set up a connection between our world position attribute that we just created and our or our parent constraint node that we also just created. So the parent constraint node is going to live in our eyes control group. We go back there, and if we open that up here, we'll notice there's our node that we're looking for, the parent constraint node. So we're going to select that control, and then control select our eyes control group parent constraint 1. And then we're going to go into our connection editor. So if you go under Windows and come down to General Editors and Connection Editor. And that's what we're looking for. It's going to auto-load. We want our eyes on our left and the parent constraint node on our right. And make sure we're going from left to right from or to. You can always flip that back and forth if you wanted to. But we're going to keep it this way. We'll scroll down to the bottom to get to our world position attribute that we just created. Then we're going to go down to the bottom of our constraint node, and we're going to select it to that world orient group weight value right there. So that is connected. World position is set to off, so that means it's going to follow its normal parent, just like this. And then if we turn it back on, now it's going to stay put, and our eyes are going to keep looking at that. And that is great. That works pretty well. So we'll keep the world position off for right now. And now we're going to make 2 more attributes that we're just going to use to control our eyelids. So we're going to select our left and our right eye control group and go into Edit in our channel box and go to Add Attribute. And these are going to be float values. And we're going to say the first one is going to be our upper lid open close, or you can call it upper lid blink, whatever you want that makes sense to you. We're going to add that, and now we're going to do our lower lid open close. And we're going to add that. Okay. So now that we have those attributes added, we can make connections to those. So again, we can use a direct connection, which should be just fine for what we're needing. So we need that upper lid joint and our lower lid joint. So we'll select the upper first, or sorry, we'll select our left eye control, and then we will shift select our upper eyelid. And we'll go back into Windows, General Editors, and over to our Component Editor. Oh, sorry, I misspoke. General Editors, we want our Connection Editor. Yeah, there we go. All right, so now we're going to go down. We're going to find our upper lid, open, close, and we're going to select that to our Rotate X. And just to verify that, we'll go back here. We'll hit our rotation tool, and we see it's the X that we want to control here for our blink. So we'll go down, we'll find our rotate, and open that up and connect this to our rotate X. Well, that is connected. We're going to go in and we're going to select that lower lid, and we're going to reload on our right side here, and now we're going to connect our lower lid open close attribute over to our rotate X on our lower lid joint. So now that should give us this functionality. We can wink, and we can close that lower eyelid as well. Close it. Move them together at this point, and they'll just stay closed. Awesome. Yay. So that's a really simple setup that we've got here, which is really nice. We'll hit 0 to 0 that all out, and now we've got our control. Move our controls around, and yeah, there we have it. So yeah, again, this is just a really simple setup. So Really easy with just a couple of aim constraints to keep the eyes positioned where you want it. And you can grab those, place them where you want. You can turn the world position back to on and keep them there. And so that way, if your character is looking at something and they're tracking something with their eyes, you can just plant it right on that object. And then as they walk towards it or move around the room, their eyes will stay on that object. They're going to be aimed right at it. And that's a great thing about aim constraints. So yeah, okay, perfect. Hope you like that. Hope that helps. And yeah, good luck.